Moonblade.
I will do what must be done.
Going to the next level.
Alright guys, we are back and we basically got the confirmation that it is live. In my mind there's no doubt that it is live. We were told that basically a Zenix player would be called a StarTale player right now, and apparently on the Korean stream they also said that
He's a former Zenix player.
Yeah, exactly, that Zerg is a former Zenix player, so it's live.
Yeah.
There is no other way.
There's basically no doubt in my mind either. Just the way that Nidus was executed pretty much sealed the deal. He used a lot of infestors in his other game.
It is exactly the strategies that he used in his Code A games just last week, 2 weeks ago. And this is the games that I was talking about earlier. He used on Metropolis the Nidus play, and I was blown away by it. I loved it. So this is exactly the same thing that he did. And I love the strategy. I have to give some credit to the Caspar Protoss too, though. He defended really well against it.
Yeah.
He lost in the end, but just the way that he was able to put up a defense was really well done.
If he had a few better force fields, and if there were two things he could have done better, I would say one is to stop the Nidus, the second Nidus. If he stops the second Nidus that actually got in the end of the game, he's in an okay spot. Also, if he kills the tumor that allows him to make another Nexus, then he might be able to recover. It's still going to be an uphill battle because the Zerg can just sit back and drone. You're never really going to be able to attack him. But it's a position that he could have maybe recovered from, but those are the only things he could have done better. Everything else he did was great. His forces were usually pretty spot on, and his reactions were quite quick. So I was impressed by him overall.
One thing that I also want to point out is the following. We were told that a player who plays in one of the Ready Action matches cannot play in the next one. So we heard earlier that Ace confirmed on Twitter that he played in last week's Ready Action match. I don't know if that's really true, but let's just assume for the moment that it is, because we also thought that it has to be Ace because of the style that he used.
Yeah.
Then if this is true, the Protoss player that is playing in the final right now cannot be Ace. It could be a former Zenix player as well, but it is not Ace.
Yeah, so I think the chances of it being Ace are pretty low, but that's something that's a possibility. We are going to have the exact same maps, starting with Entombed, so this is not going to be something, again, that our Zerg player, likely Life, is going to be happy about. But
I will call him Life from now on.
You can.
This is... I would bet all the money that I have, everything. I would bet the last pieces of hair that I have on my body on the fact that he is
there's
Life.
not that much of that, is there?
Gotta hate you.
So I don't know how confident you really are. We've betting your eyebrows over here. We're going to jump into game one.
Forgot about those.
On Entombed Valley.
That would look stupid.
That would look pretty silly.
Well, guys, the game is on. Entombed Valley is our first map in this best of 3, so let's get into the game. And here we are, live in the first game. Bottom right, our Protoss player. This is a GSL Protoss, starting for the StarTale team. And his opponent, surprise, surprise, he's starting with a 6-pole to the top right. We have StarTale Life. You know it's true.
Allegedly. We are going to have our Pro Scout.
Do you want to bet money?
No, not really, because I agree with you, but I mean, there's other possibilities. What if it's... How stupid will you feel if it's Suho Shin, for example? Or what if it's actually just Curious, alright? How stupid will you feel?
Curious looked at live strategies and is like, this is actually really cool, I have to do that. And now you're on my team, can you send me some replays? Oh, that is so awesome. Cool, I'm playing in the Ready Action game. I can try this strategy. That's actually true.
It's probably going to be live. He's already seen this. He starts his Forge right away. This is very different than the last game because they are closer, scouts first, and this means any counterattack the Protoss wants to make via Stargate potentially is going to be even easier to make as well.
I would actually have liked if you would have switched it up a little bit. I was about to ask you before the last match if you think that he might start with the same strategy once again. But if I was him, I would have actually used the Nidus on this map, and maybe if a 6 pull at all on
Daybreak?
not even on Daybreak, maybe on the third map, because the problem with Daybreak is you have a 2-player map, so you can be scouted a lot faster.
And it's a somewhat of a long rush distance as well. It's much longer than the distance between these two bases right now. Ohana's not that short either, but I think that would probably be the better one. Here we go. Gate already started here a little bit prematurely, though. I'm a little bit surprised he's not going for that gate, and he immediately does.
He can force a cancel if he's lucky.
Yeah, and he's going to force probes off the line at the very least. I don't think that cannon
actually,
covers.
Exactly. I'm
Well,
thinking...
just barely not, I guess. I guess we found the sweet spot.
And he's like, free gateway. No,
The Zerlings are like... That's what Zerlings sound like, man. I don't know. Zerlings are like that, man, in StarCraft 1. They sound much better in StarCraft 1,
There's
I think.
this video on YouTube with the one guy that just makes all these unit sounds. You know that, don't you?
Yeah.
That is so brilliant.
There's a lot of those, actually.
This guy is just like the overlord that he does. I'm tempted to try it, but I know that it will just completely embarrass myself, and everybody will be like, well, first of all, everybody will laugh and will say like, oh my god, Calder is so stupid. And then they will be like, this is not how an overlord sounds. And they sit at home and try to do the same thing and fail as well, but nobody hears it, so they are not embarrassed about it at all.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna fall on this trap, guys.
No,
sorry.
I won't do it either. I'm with you on this, man. Oh! Did not cancel. He had it selected, too. That was kind of weird. There wasn't even a drone nearby. That was a mistake. He was distracted probably because the Zealot was on attack.
Look over for the follow-up. How many links does he have? He's going
12.
for speed as well.
Yeah, he's
Will we
not-
see a Baneling
See, this is the reason why sometimes it's hard as a Prost to make the right choice as to what to do next against this type of play.
But to me, this only makes sense if he goes for the Baneling Nest. And I would actually... I mean, he's not getting gas. He's going for mass speedlings here, but... Again, let me have a quick look at this building positioning of the Protoss player to the bottom right. He has one cannon, he doesn't have too many zealots. You can kill this with speedlings, but at the same time it's a little bit risky. I feel that you are safer if you go for banelings.
If he goes in before there's a wall at the natural, if there's even going to be a wall, this can be quite devastating. And he may even go before speed stun. In fact, I think he will.
Don't get me wrong, this can definitely kill the Protoss, of course. But at the same time, he knows, he kind of knows. He goes for 2 Stalkers though, he's not going straight for the sentries.
Now he cancels and goes for sentries.
Yeah, and he needs sentries here. But just imagine this with a few Banelings. Of course you have less Zerglings, of course it's a bit of a stretch, and if you fail you will lose the game. But still. Because this is not a safe wall off against Banelings.
No.
This is so bustable.
Yeah, he just goes for the pile and it goes around very
This
easily.
basically screams, bust me, please.
Well, this is actually so many Zerglings regardless. This is going to look really silly, I think, though, because he's got 2 Stalkers and a Zealot as well as a Sentry to help.
But maybe with all the surface area that he can cover here, if he focuses on one of those... Attack a building, attack a pylon, attack
He needs
the
to make
gate.
another wall, though, because that's his only force field. He needs a gate. There it is.
Can he focus it down? That's the main question here. He needs to focus on this one building gateway, and then he will be able to do it. But a lot of Zerglings already died, and the gateway builds too fast. The surface area just is not there.
Like I said, he's either going to break through, he's going to look really silly just trying to get through. And he cannot succeed here. He needs to make another pylon, though. Okay, another force field first.
Tries to snipe the
GG.
Nexus. GG.
Well, this time unsuccessful with the 6 pool. Not following up with a hatchery, which honestly would be what the player would expect. I'm sure he watched the Korean broadcast at least of this while he was waiting to see what sort of strategy his teammate is actually up to right now, and he probably expected a similar follow-up on this map.
I really think that you could Baneling burst
He
this.
could have, and he would have won actually if he did it. The thing is, if the Protoss does not expand, then you've wasted a lot of resources on gas, you lost a lot of resources continuing to mine gas to make the Banelings, even if you don't make the Banelings. If he stays on one base and does a 4-gate, for example, he just stays up the ramp and you don't win.
I don't know how the economy would work out though, because well, you need to have 3 of your drones in gas still. You need a little bit more gas. You want the speed as the follow-up. You don't want to rely on the slowlings. So you have to have 50 gas to build the Baneling nest. Then you have to have the Banelings themselves. You need at least let's say
150 to
let's
200
say
gas.
6. Nah, you need more.
Not including speed, because the Zergling speed you need 100, so you
Exactly.
need about
you need
250.
150 for speed and the Baneling Nest. Then you need another 150, 120.
About, I think in total 250, 300 at the least
exactly.
to have the attack.
So you will have less Zerglings because you have less minerals, but at the same time, it's more dangerous if your opponent does not have enough sentries at the point where you hit. It's a gamble. It's a gamble either way. Either way. If you go for only the Zergling attack, as we've just seen, it's a gamble. If you go, just make sure that you can.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
You're
so hopeful.
Yeah, just remember that today they're not inviting us.
Yeah.
So it's a
Look at
gamble.
that, I barely made it in
Yeah.
time.
It's a gamble either way, but I feel that the gamble with the Zergling, with the Banelings, is a little bit safer.
It's a little bit more reasonable, I would say, because also the same thing applies if he stays on one base and you do only Zerglings, then he's also just going to wall his main the same way. So if you're not going to expand, I think it might be more reasonable to go for the Banelings. But either way, we're going to jump into Game 2 on Daybreak. Loaded up right now, ready to go. Ready action, if you will.